KLST, the #1 TV station in the Concho Valley. Now with local news first, you're watching KLST News at Noon.
Welcome to News at Noon. I'm Kristen Strakalitis. Another flight is in full operation at the San Angelo Airport. United Air operates SkyWest, and their new direct flight goes to the Houston Intercontinental. This is something the city has been trying to secure for some time in efforts to boost the city's growth and economy.
It's important for so many reasons. Certainly one, because we believe strongly that our business community is the community that keeps San Angelo's heartbeat going. And if we're going to recruit companies, if we're going to continue to develop this city, if we support economic development, which we do, then a flight to Houston is paramount to that energy and effort of supporting economic development.
Up to 50 passengers. Due to zebra mussels impacting some of our waterways, remember to drain the water from your boats and to wash them before moving them to another location. KLC's Victor Glenn explains why in this week's Our Water.
Our Water is sponsored by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Since the presence of zebra mussels was recently confirmed in OHIV, Texas Parks and Wildlife has placed Lake Nasworthy and Twin Buttes on active monitoring.
Part of the monitoring process is we have a list of reservoirs every year we monitor that we consider higher risk to potentially getting zebra mussels. And so this year, starting in May of this spring, we're going to begin adding Lake Nasworthy and Twin Buttes Reservoir to that monitoring program since we're in a close proximity to OHIV.
Zebra mussels can cling to and clog water lines, making them a major hazard to area lakes as local communities depend on that water supply. Additionally, as filter feeders, they can drastically disrupt the food chain in what TPWD staff calls a cascade effect, reducing food availability for larger fish.
Zebra mussels are a highly invasive shellfish. They're native to Eurasia, to the Black and Caspian Sea region, but they came to North America in the 80s to the Great Lakes, got into the Mississippi River Basin, started moving around there, and then began moving overland and made their way into Texas by 2009.
This is a battle Texas has slowly been losing for over a decade now. A big reason, many unknowingly transport zebra mussel larvae between lakes by boat.
It is state law that when you leave a lake, you need to drain all the lake water from your boat, your bilges, your live wells, because it is now against the law to transport that water. Again, you could have zebra mussel larvae in that water and not even know it because you can't see it.
For Our Water, I'm Victor Glenn. For more Our Water stories, visit ConchoValleyHomepage.com/water.
As the weather gets nicer, you may plan on spending some time outside with your pet. However, due to the amount of rainfall we get this time of year, it makes parvo easier to spread. I talked with Jenny Wilson, Executive Director for Concho Valley Paws, who says she sees a rise of parvo cases at the shelter during this time of year. Springtime means showers and new flowers, but it can also mean parvo and pets. Concho Valley Paws Executive Director Jenny Wilson says she has noticed increased cases around the springtime.
It's a struggle. We can't save all of them, but we do save most of them.
Green Meadow Veterinarian Hospital Dr. Scott Blanton says the spike in cases this time of year could be linked to more rainfall.
During the rains, it will chelate with some soil and it will be brought out in some organic matter.
Parvo is a digestive system illness which could be contracted through animals eating contaminated soil when licking their paws. And it isn't just the shelter animals who are at risk for catching the illness.
All of the parvo cases that we see at the shelter are actually brought in from the public. And parvo can lay dormant in the system for up to 7 days. And at the time that it's broke with parvo, it has already exposed whatever dogs it's been around.
This is why it's important to get your pet vaccinated for parvo.
So we encourage everyone to get vaccinations. Vaccinations don't cost anything compared to the treatment of an illness like that. And if you can't afford the treatment, then the pet usually will die.
Since puppies are more susceptible, shelter staff recommends locals take advantage of their Mommy and Me program. This program allows the mom to get fixed for free and the puppies to stay with her longer, which is vital to their immunity.
It will prevent the problem from happening again, but it gives us a better solution with a much better outcome for those puppies.
If you noticed your pet not eating, throwing up, and having abdominal pains, seek medical help because parvo can be deadly if gone untreated. There are 59 active COVID cases in our area. The city announced 4 new cases on Wednesday. This brings a total for local people who tested positive for the virus to over 16,700. There are 7 people currently hospitalized and 307 COVID-related deaths. Also, close to 30,000 people have been fully vaccinated at this time. The San Angelo Area Foundation is kicking off San Angelo Gives with advanced giving. Kayla Brown explains in this News Connection.
Give early and give often.
The San Angelo Area Foundation is allowing the community to help our local nonprofits with a single transaction. May 4th is a day of giving for San Angelo Gives, but you won't have to wait to show support with advanced giving.
Advanced giving just gives the donors the opportunity to support their favorite charities in advance. So donations are being collected now, and then we celebrate the spirit of philanthropy with San Angelo Gives Day of Giving on May 4th.
Donating during an advanced giving can help San Angelo Area Foundation reach their goal to give 50 nonprofits an additional amount of up to $1,000 each without even leaving your home.
What's so great about San Angelo Gives is that you can give anywhere, and so whether you're traveling or you're out of town for work, you can go on to sanangelogives.org and support your favorite charities. And then when we give together, those dollars are pulled together and then granted back out to those organizations so that they can do the work here in our community.
Leading up to San Angelo Gives on May 4th, advanced giving is open, and the Area Foundation encourages sharing your support for the instrumental resources we have.
I'm just excited to see the outpouring of support for the local nonprofits in our area, but as well as just an opportunity for 24 hours for San Angelo to come together as one to impact our nonprofit community.
For News Connection, I'm Kayla Brown.
Today, during a virtual Earth Day summit from the White House, President Biden announced his plan to cut down on carbon emissions in the U.S. Deborah Alfarone has the details.
5 degrees Celsius.
40 world leaders showed up on screen as President Biden set out to prove the U.S. is back in the climate fight.
The United States sets out on the road to cut greenhouse gases in half by the end of this decade.
President Biden called it a moral imperative, recommitting to goals set by the Paris Climate Agreement, which the U.S. left during the Trump administration.
No nation can solve this crisis on our own, as I know you all fully understand. All of us, and particularly those of us who represent the world's largest economies, we have to step up.
The White House says this can happen in part by eliminating all carbon emissions from the country's generation of electricity by 2035, and by cutting energy costs with new investments in energy-efficient upgrades to buildings.
President Biden will need Congress to pass his $2 trillion infrastructure plan in order to launch some of these changes, and right now it has no Republican lawmaker support. They're offering up their own infrastructure plan today.
China's President Xi Jinping followed President Biden at the summit. His country is the world's biggest emissions culprit. Despite a frosty relationship in recent months, China and the U.S. both signed an agreement this week, vowing to work together on climate change.
To protect the environment is to protect productivity, and to improve the environment is to boost productivity.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel, and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson also spoke. Prior to the conference, Japan announced it's upping its goal to cut greenhouse gas emissions from 26 to 46% by 2030. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
And that's a look at your news. And coming up, we'll hear from Adelita Alvarez and Jessica Anaya with St. Anne's Catholic Church of Sonora. So stay with us. You're watching News at Noon.